Right now we here at top of the Line Barbershop.
It
was By Uneek Barbershop, and I actually came to work here in 2004. Went to Michigan Barber School, worked at Michigan Barber School while I started cutting hair here. And from there in 2004, I spent about 2 years as a barber. Decided to go into ownership at that point. Had a conversation with the current owner about possibly doing a partnership with her, and she agreed, and the rest is kind of history. So that was my, I guess, my launch into entrepreneurship. And since then, went from owning the barbershop to launching a clothing brand under the same umbrella as the barbershop. So the previous name for the barbershop was Uneek Barbershop, which is spelled U-N-E-E-K. We took Uneek and turned it into an acronym because we wanted it to be more than a name. We wanted it to have a much deeper meaning. So we came up with the acronym Unifying Nationality, Black Encouraging Education. So the push behind that was really to use the barbershop, the clothes, any other initiative we would start, we would be using these as vehicles to push this deeper message of really just bringing different people together in the same place, regardless of backgrounds, social status, ethnicity. Use that vehicle for whatever our goal was that we were trying to accomplish at that time. So since then, Uneek's evolved into a major influence here in the city of Detroit. We've done several things outside the city of Detroit, in other states. The brand expanded to Australia, France. We've sold in over 50 retail outlets. We've been in some of the biggest online distributor warehouses around the country, and so the brand is still going pretty strong in terms of our extra brand. But then underneath that, we launched a distribution site called WearUneek.com, which houses other apparel brands who are trying to do the same thing. So that started about 2 years ago, and we're in a showroom in Los Angeles, and it's been going great. So from that point, after we launched the clothing line, we decided that we wanted to help other brands who were going through the same type of issues and struggles and roadblocks that we encountered. So we launched a marketing and branding company called Robert Courtney Associates. So Robert Courtney Associates is really about helping startups, small and medium-sized businesses articulate their story over the digital platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, so on and so forth. So that started about 2 years ago, and that's where we are right now, in hardcore building mode. Just trying to let people know that we are here to help. We really pride ourselves on just making information available and assisting in whatever capacity that we can. But the run of our business is usually we come on as basically outsourced marketing, an outsourced marketing team that usually handles whatever a company needs as it pertains to marketing. So whether it's social, whether it's physical flyers, whether that's handling events, whatever's needed, we try to answer the problem.
I really like that. I like that about what you do, and I do appreciate that. Yeah. Giving me a chance on this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, is there anything from becoming the sole proprietor now venturing off into marketing and branding? Was there anything in particular that kind of ignited that flame to that avenue?
In hindsight, absolutely. Like, when I think about it, the whole time that I was working, still a barber, and so what's happened is, in me looking back and just understanding like the day-to-day processes that was involved in being a barber, the encounters that would happen with the customers and the clients, and the day-to-day things that I would have to go through as a barber. So many of those things apply to everything that I've done since that point. So unknowingly, through that process, through those last 10 years, 9-10 years, I've been creating the blueprint basically for everything that I do now, from customer service to personal branding, to just understanding ways to set up my business to make it make sense, to eliminate overhead, to work on the shoestrings budget in the most efficient way possible. There's so many things that as a barber owner or a barbershop owner that I do as an agency owner. There's a lot of similarities. So I feel like I tell people all the time, like I didn't graduate from college with a marketing degree or a business degree, but I went to the school of real life business. Exactly. And so I've experienced over theory. Exactly. I've been a student, and it's all rooted in just very practical, day-to-day things that are staples for all businesses to be successful.
Now, I know that as far as the barbershop, you are the sole proprietor.
Well, I was the sole proprietor. With our rebranding for Top of the Line, I partnered with a couple people. So currently I'm in a partnership, but that's only been a year since that happened. So with Uneek Barbershop, I was one of the residents.
How important is a good partner or good partners to the success of the group?
Extremely important. I mean, I had several opportunities to partner. Was asked to partner so many different times leading up to my recent partnership with the two gentlemen that I'm in partnership with now. But I had always been reluctant because it's very difficult to merge personalities and to find people that have like common interests and just understand the nature of business. With the Uneek collection, which is the clothing aspect of our business, or I should say the lifestyle aspect of the business. My partner from the beginning has been a guy by the name of Courtney. And so we started off, I launched it, and then I brought him on board, and he went from really being just a value asset to a partner. And a part of that emergence was just his will and tenacity and our like-minded principles in running and operating business. And so, and then just like a mutual respect for each other. Us understanding that it's going to take like a massive workload and it will take for us to launch this thing. We kind of meet each other. And then, I'm very team-oriented when it comes to just doing anything. So when you talk about partnership, obviously those are, I feel like, the executive things that happen when it comes to managing money, when it comes to the direction, when it comes to the actual brand itself. But when you talk about partnerships in terms of needing a team in order to be successful, like I don't think it's possible to achieve success without it.
As far as business goes, I mean, you can pull from the barbershop or the marketing agent. What is like the biggest overhead at this point?
Just in terms of expenses? Right now, my biggest overhead is probably just maintaining clients when it comes to the clients that we deal with for the marketing agency, because the way our agency is set up, we handle everything, and then we're typically reimbursed by our clients. So sometimes that overhead can be a little up here, but I've done a complete audit of my businesses, and so today with like so much technology where you can literally work from home like 100% of the time, any smart entrepreneur just getting started would definitely take advantage of all the technology and just do it from your car, do it from your house or a coffee shop, whatever the case may be. But having overhead should like not ever be a hurdle, in terms of getting a business off the ground. But I mean, obviously I lease this building for the barbershop, so there's the overhead and the utilities that come with it, and then I lease my office downtown, which is Gratiot and Madison, off of Broadway. And so obviously I lease that space too, but they're not huge expensive, so not much overhead involved. And then obviously like my payroll for my agency staff. That would probably be the second biggest outside of the maintenance of the clients.
Now, if you can give young entrepreneurs 3 pieces of advice, maybe just 3 tips, you can kind of keep them as bullet points or whatever. What would those be?
Number 1 would be build your personal brand. Your personal brand is probably the most important asset that you have. So even if you just have an idea and you know that eventually you plan on turning that idea into an actual business, still during that interim between actually starting, you could be developing your personal brand, which consists of the day-to-day activity. So for example, if you are thinking about going into, thinking about being a barber, let's say hypothetically, or thinking about owning a barbershop, during that time, you could be putting out information about haircuts, or putting out information about products that barbers can use, or tools that's available.
Kind of getting people ready before.
Exactly. Like you're creating an audience, and you're creating respectability in your field. You're branding your image so that when you let it be known that you're a barber or you have a barbershop, now these people, they become connected with you, they trust you, they like the information that you're delivering, and at that point, you don't have to sell anyone to come to use your service. They want to just come and listen to the person. Exactly. That's why I push branding so hard. Like, branding is a day-to-day activity that if you do it correctly, you never have to sell. People just come to you. So that would be one, building your personal brand. And then the second would be, like I just mentioned, consistency. Consistency will, the right amount of consistency, you don't need much talent. You can cover up talent and be consistent. Exactly. Hard work and talent. Exactly. Every single day, all day. So being consistent at once upon a time has meant, honing your craft, showing up for work every day, keeping that message in front of people's face. Now we live in a digital world, so being consistent means that you need to put out information, content about your craft on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever it is, wherever your audience is, you got to establish that, where do your audience live, obviously, but wherever they live, you got to consistently something in front of yourself, so that you can make yourself relevant in the majority in that space. So personal brand, consistency, and then the third, there's so many, it's just so many things, but the third one would probably just be like self-awareness. I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they're entrepreneurs, but they're really not entrepreneurs. they have entrepreneur tendencies. You know, you have a lot of small business owners who aren't entrepreneurs, so they're very things. And being self-aware is really just kind of doing a self-aware where you establish what is your goal, what are you trying to accomplish. You know, if you're working on 9 to 5, and it's really hard for you to leave that weekly guaranteed paycheck, if that's a scary thing to the point where it gives you anxiety, there's so many challenges that come up as an actor from being exactly like adversity in all shapes, forms, and fashion on a daily basis, if not on an hour-by-hour basis. And I think the real talent or the real skill that you develop as an entrepreneur that goes untalked about a lot is just navigating through challenges and learning how to adapt when those roadblocks present themselves. I think that's actually more of a necessary skill than the actual talent itself that you possess for the brand you're trying to build. Because at the end of the day, you know the challenges coming, you know adversity's coming. Being an entrepreneur, your mind is constantly like this. You know, 1 month you're super high, the next month you're not.
When you're super high, you gotta get ready for it's not for the cold.
Exactly. And so self-awareness is huge. Trying to make sure that what you're doing is a passion instead of a want or desire. And so when you do a true self-audit, you figure out that this isn't a passion, then I would strongly suggest that you not go into that area, because when those challenges or that adversity strikes, you're probably going to cash in. You're going to run out of the way and go back to the old job you had, or what have you. So, personal branding, consistency, and self-awareness off the top of my head would probably be like my top 3 things that I would suggest.
I think also just kind of touching on that self-awareness is a good segue into the next question. Is what are some of your failures and how have you kind of handled them or bounce back?
You don't got enough film time. You want to check that 10-minute mark. What failures? Which ones camera worthy that I can think of? So, you know, starting with the barbershop, like my very first, I guess, entrepreneurial venture. The first failure was really just, like we kind of talked about earlier before the film started rolling, just realizing that once I became an owner, money just doesn't fall out the sky. My bank account just doesn't all of a sudden have extra zeros in it.
Right, like I'm the owner, where's the deposits?
Exactly, like where's the prize? So I think my first fail was really a fail because the perception of what I thought ownership meant and how I thought that related to financial success were like very off the mark.
For most people, I think it is.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, you know, it's like there's no experience. There's no, only thing you can gauge is what you see on TV, what you read in books. And so, as a child growing up, it was always kind of put in front of you as like the American dream, to work hard, own a business, employ people, so on and so forth. And becoming an owner means that you're wealthy, you own a business, or you're the CEO, whatever that means. Yeah, right. So that was probably the first fail, and just realizing that success wasn't what I thought it was. And then, you know, from that point, it's like, how do I navigate from this point? And you got bills deals coming in. You got months where the barbershop is slow. You got those days when you got to choose, do you pay your water bill, do you pay your gas bill. So those first probably 5 years was just a lot of that, like a lot of just juggling, trying to just understand or figure out within myself what the next steps were to going to building my own success. Another failure, let me see, what's another failure that I could kind of talk to that we run into. I'll give you a good one. So when we was launching the clothing line, we send off for samples to be made, and we had already guaranteed retailers and different people that we would have samples to give to them and clothing to give to them and whatnot. And so we sent off for these samples, and these were like really good contacts that we had already kind of established. And so we sent off for the samples, and the samples came back, and the samples were completely wrong. And we had dumped a lot of money into the situation already. So, we had to get creative in how we delayed the process. And one big thing that we've always been really good at is being guys of our work. So if we give you a date or a time, we try to always under-promise, over-deliver. Like that's probably been like the theme of our push since we started. So that was kind of a big setback, and we ended up losing a lot of those relationships. A lot of those things fell through.
What could you have done differently in that situation? Like you said, it came back wrong, or is it something that you guys?
Yeah, well now the game is completely different. Like I'm talking 2009, where you couldn't just create a mock-up of a design that you could send electronically and let those people check it out. Like back then, you needed the actual garment. They needed to touch it. They needed to feel it. It was hard to really get a feel for it over email or what have you. So now, nothing gets made. Nothing gets made before we send out actual mock-ups and actual digital creations of what it is that we're trying to do. It eliminates all. There's no
back and forth until you actually
exactly. Like everything is pretty much that way, so you don't have to worry about that part of it no more. We actually go to the extent of like we put designs out online over social media, and then based on the feedback that we get, decide whether or not we can get it created.
Survey capabilities in social media, it's priceless.
Yeah, it eliminates a lot, and it could eliminate a lot of mistakes and save a ton of money.
The biggest fear, if any, being a business owner or entrepreneur.
So $2,000 for the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess my fear is really everything. Nothing we do in entrepreneurship is guaranteed. So, all my clients can go away. And then what? So while there's a fear of the unknown, it's also like probably the number one motivator.
Right.
You gotta do what you gotta do. So
and it's part of the game. So
it is the game. If you're not addicted to that feeling, like that fear, if it doesn't drive you and if you don't get a little excited about that, then again, entrepreneurship is probably not for you. It's kind of like I compare it to
bringing your own liquor and all that.
being in the basketball game and the clock winding down. And that's the pressure moment. Some people run from it, some people embrace it, and it's a very similar thing. It's like it's a healthy fear. And as long as you've taken the steps necessary leading up to that moment, then when that moment comes, it's no you embrace it, it's cool, but you're not exactly. And every time you do it, it becomes easier. But in this game, it's like you're not prepared, you're going to expose like real quick. You know, it's going to send you back to where you came from, you know, regular work life or what have you. So yeah, I mean, just the fact that things are super unpredictable is my fear, but it's a fear that I enjoy. It's a healthy fear. I put out a Facebook post the other day, and it says fear is either fear everything and run, or fear everything and rise. So that kind of sums it up. It's kind of a healthy balance between the two.
What are some of the sacrifices that you've had to make as an entrepreneur so far? You know, how did you handle those?
Well, I mean, the obvious sacrifice is just work-life balance, you know, so with that, it's in order to achieve success I think in anything, not just business, in anything, it's kind of this obsessive, like overindulgence and your day-to-day activities and patterns. And so with that, you know, you might miss a baseball game here and there. You know, you might miss a couple of date nights. It's just time. Like, you know, that's probably like the biggest sacrifice. You're gonna lose time, probably that you would want to spend with people that you love or whatnot, or friends, and people that aren't entrepreneurs typically don't understand that level of commitment. You know, so with that comes hate. You know, people just not being on that same wavelength. They're going to assume that everybody can make time if you really want to make time. But if you're trying to be successful, like, you don't have it. Like, you just don't have it. Every ounce of energy goes into your project or whatever it is that you're working on. And when you have to prioritize. Yeah, I mean, even with that, like, how do you prioritize? You got this video that you need to edit, so you put it out. You're trying to create the actual verbiage content on the website. The website needs to be completed. A new client that needs to be interviewed. Like, so you walk away from this, you saying, you know what, I need a break. But the job's not done. Like, you still need to go back and finish it. You know, so trying to balance when you stop and when you start, you know, that's always a challenge. I like to say I have work-life balance. I'm going to work as hard as I can, and life will balance itself out. Pretty much. So that's my definition of work-life balance.
Yeah, so entrepreneurs, listen up, that's it. I'm going to work as hard as I can. And life will balance itself.
At some point, and I feel like when my son is old enough to where he gets it, he's going to easily accept my explanation for why I wasn't around sometimes. But you know what the flip side of that is? Being an entrepreneur, if I want to take 2 hours and stay home a little later so that I can wake up and go to school, or go home during lunchtime, what I'm doing to go to a basketball game, as an entrepreneur, I can dictate that, you know, which is also while there's so many disadvantages of being an entrepreneur, the advantages far
excluding yourself and your business, are there any companies or businesses that you admire and why?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This ain't got nothing on it. Gary Vee, I mean, obviously, Gary Vaynermedia is probably like the poster child for the agency. Really? And I feel like a really wise thing for any aspiring brands or businesses to do is to find companies that they aspire to. But being self-aware enough to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, so that you can build what it is that makes the most sense for you. But VaynerMedia is obviously a great company. I watched Founders about 2 months ago, which is the story of McDonald's. And
weekend, that's why you see all them cars going up north.
I recommend you go watch it. It's the story of Ray Kroc and just the whole business behind how he will McDonald's into what it is today. And their business model is just like, it's probably the first true brand that really just how they played on the emotion of people and how they push the family aspect, and that's how they connected.
Kind of snuck in the back door in a way as far as
exactly, but that's branding, though, right? That's really what you're trying to do. Like, you're trying to build trust or build loyalty. You're trying to create a feeling, and the more successful you are in creating that feeling, usually the more successful the company is. So all the big ones do it. Nike builds trust.
If you was to take people up here and they say, all right, what we gonna do up here?
All these different companies have different USPs or unique selling points that they're trying to get across to the consumer. And if they accomplish that, then when that person thinks of that brand, it generates this feeling, whatever that feeling is. So
play on your emotion.
You gotta play on it. You gotta connect with some type of emotion, which is where a lot of people struggle when it comes to social. It's really hard to create those emotions when you sit behind a computer or on your phone and type in words. So doing it in person is a lot easier.
And all that, of course, all that, right?
Some people put it different, so you gotta do it through pictures and videos.
Yeah, something different.
So on and so forth. So
where do you see yourself in Uneek brand in 10 years?
Ideally, I'll always work. I'm just wired that way to work. But my long-term goal is to make Robert Courtney Associates a player in the agency world. To build a really strong team that can deliver those products and services on a high level for Fortune 500 companies around the globe. And then me personally, I like to do it on a bigger level in terms of consulting companies and helping them establish what their brand message is and the best way to put that message out there. So that would be like an ideal scenario. But with that being said, I'm a big proponent of I'm gonna follow my instincts and I'm gonna do whatever it is that I feel passionate about.
I ain't no boys to get on the road, man. You got on the road.
In basketball, 10 years from now, I may say, you know what, it's time to put all my time and energy into him and helping him with his career, so it could change, but if I'm just looking down the road and I had to just give you an answer, I would say, me personally, I will be a consultant in some way, shape, or form.
Can't be no more,
I believe will go on to be equivalent to
you think it is up on that level?
We hope to make it a household name.
Hey, but I have watched.
On the retail side, on the distribution side, is really where we put our energy into. And that's
We got on it.
platform to help other brands launch themselves.
Ain't nobody done.
Where Uneek is essentially, I think, going to really become a catalyst for our apparel side of things.
That's part of the system, man.
Unique world with the apparel.
I've got on
Marketing world with the Robert Courtney Associates. We'll eventually kind of connect where we're providing this marketing agency
Get it on there. And you see this?
inspiring
Like
brands
nothing.
to make them eligible to be able to be brands where Uneek is calm, where for huge buyers that's going where you need to try to find new brands and things like that. So
I like that. It's kind of like bringing people in and helping them raise to the level to actually need your services. So that's a beautiful thing. Now at this point, basically, I would ask if there's anything I haven't asked you so far that you feel that you would like to answer, or just any info you want to provide.
I think you've done a great job kind of covering all the bases.
You had to get on the millennial for that.
Anybody out there that needs our services, feel free to reach out. It's not always about the actual service, or like we've mentioned, it's about the money. I can help.
That's what I'm saying, right?
You reached out to me out of the clear blue, and I was more than happy to have the conversation. I'm very into having conversations. I think conversations is the beginning of any great, successful idea or business for that matter. So if you're interested in having a conversation about your brand, feel free to reach out, especially if you come through this network. Robert Courtney Collins is how you find us on Instagram. RobertCourtneyCollins.com is our website. Robert Uneek Courtney is my personal pages across.
I didn't know nothing about the dude in my job. She told me about it last year.
And so, if you want to connect, I'm always happy to connect. Like I said, probably the biggest thing that I can emphasize with this sitting is self-awareness and creating your personal brand. That should always be, if you have any aspirations of being an entrepreneur, those should be two things that you're always thinking about. Knowing yourself, understanding what your passion is, and then establishing that through whatever outlet or whatever medium that you're in.
I appreciate you for the interview. It's been swell. I've learned a lot.
Come to the barbershop, get a haircut if you ever need one. 7157 Michigan Avenue.
Right, man, I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Thank you.